Today we're going to talk about butterflies, the miracle of change, that is, called metamorphosis in science. Butterflies and moths are in a scientific classification Lepidoptera. There are some differences between moths and butterflies, but they all have two pairs of wings covered with scales. And the scales in the butterflies tend to give us lots of color. Large, light-sensitive eyes with six-sided facets or groups make it possible for them to sense lots of color and light. They have knob-like antennas which they use for actually sensing their environment and determining if there are food sources available. They have siphoning mouth parts, which allow them to extend their tongues, or proboscises, into flowers to extract nectar. They go through a process called complete metamorphosis, meaning that they change from the egg to a larva, to a pupa, and then the adult. We are, of course, more familiar with the adult stage. The larvae, when they have hatched out, have eating mouth parts, and that's all they do is eat, eat, eat. They eat leaves mostly, and some require specific plants, such as the butterflies that eat only milkweed, or those that only eat roses. There are specific plants that they eat. They have three pairs of legs connected to the central body part called the thorax. As we look at the comparison of the butterfly and the moth, the butterfly on the right, the moth on the left, we notice that the butterfly has better defined colors and the moth has less defined colors. The connection of the wings, the front and back wings, are separated more on the butterfly. Helps us to identify them. The abdomen of the moth is fatter than the abdomen of the butterfly. Their eyes, both are compound, but the butterfly's eyes are larger and they carry on more specific information such as movement. The butterfly also has more of the simple eyes that are just behind the other eyes. The abdomen, as I said, is a little larger in the moth than in the butterfly. They both have wings that are double, the front and the back wing. Here are some examples of butterflies. The Adonis blue, the argent, the chalk hill blue, the monarch, checkered skipper, orange tipped, black hairstreak, dark green frillery, the peacock, lots of color, the blue morpho, the gatekeeper, the red admiral, the bronestone, the marbled white, and the silver washed frillery, the swallowtail, notice the tails on the wing, the viceroy. Well, the viceroy and the monarch look a lot alike. The viceroy has a very bad taste to birds. thus protecting it and also protecting the monarch. Then we have the white admiral. Let's take a look at the life cycle of the butterfly. Like all butterflies, the monarch life cycle consists of a series of changes called metamorphosis. Life begins as a tiny egg about the size of a sesame seed. The female monarch lays hundreds of such eggs, usually on the underside of leaves. Within a few days, the baby caterpillar begins squirming. It's ready to hatch. First, it chews a hole in the side of the shell. For several minutes, it gradually widens the hole. Finally, the infant monarch emerges into the world. Just 2 millimeters long, it's small enough to fit on the head of a pin. The newborn returns to snack on the nutrient-rich shell. But soon, it's off in search of more food, specifically of milkweed leaves. Young caterpillars are virtually eating machines, and they quickly grow. They shed their skin several times. Each shedding marks the start of a new life stage called an instar. The caterpillar prepares to shed its skin one more time by searching the underside of a twig. Finally attached to the twig, the monarch begins pupation, shedding its caterpillar clothes for the last time. The pupa, as it is now called, takes several minutes to wriggle free. Its plant-like appearance may help protect it from predators during this final metamorphosis. Motionless for about 1.5 weeks, the pupa undergoes a wondrous transformation. Time-lapse photography reveals the exquisite colors of the monarch slowly forming. Its final metamorphosis accomplished, the new butterfly emerges. At first, the monarch's wings are quite small. Over the next half hour or so, fluids are pumped into the wings, expanding them to their full size. Finally, the monarch is ready to take to the air for the very first time. The adult monarch will spend his life feeding on nectar from flowers and reproducing, beginning the life cycle once again. Let's look at their cousins, the moths. Here's an antler shade, and a different view of the antler. Bedstraw hawk moth. Hawk moths get rather large, actually getting to about 4 or 5 inches across the wingspan. black rustic, the blotched emerald, one of the more colorful of the moths, blue bordered carpet, another well-marked one, broad bordered bee hawk moth, the smaller hawk moth, black veined, notice the veins of the leaves are dark, the box tree moth, and the barb hook moth. The hook comes from the ends of the wings. And that's about it for all of the butterflies and moths.